With two hands I'm turning, I've been struck and I am holding on with all I got. With two hands I'm turning, I've been struck and I am holding on with all I got.
So let's go. So in this video I'm going to continue with tempo and timing related editing in Cubase. And I've made so many of these videos recently that I put them in a playlist that you can find in the description. But on to vocal alignment. Over here in this example project I have a vocal and a background vocal from a track from my band The Wash. And the track is called The Calling, and it's actually the track that we produced in the new song production series in a number of videos. And I'll also put a link to that playlist in the description. But right now I've simplified the project. I basically removed everything except for the lead vocal and a little part of a low vocal that should be in sync with the lead vocal. So let's have a quick listen to that.
I've seen the key, can you find the lock? With two hands I'm turning, I've been struck and I am holding on with all I got.
Now he's done a pretty good job in syncing his vocal, but especially in that last part, you could hear that the low voice was clearly not in sync with the lead vocal. So that's one part that we're going to correct. I can of course shift this audio manually, but there is a nice way in Cubase that you can use to help you with that and do it in a much more automated way. Now I have talked about vocal alignment before, especially in one of the new song production series videos. And I even made a short of a small segment of that video about the vocal alignment, but I think it deserves a bit of a longer dedicated video. And I'll also go into a bit more detail this time. So let's have a look at that. So let's zoom into the part that we want to align. And first of all, we want to change the low vocal to be in sync with the lead vocal. So I'm going to make another track version of this one, so that I can easily get back to the non-aligned version. I'm going to name it aligned. And I'm going to open the audio alignment panel by going Audio, Open Audio Alignment Panel. Now as you can see, you can indicate a reference, the track that you want to align to, and you can indicate a target. You can actually indicate multiple targets, but I'm going to show you the example of one target, and that's the track that you want to align, so the track that you want to change. So let's first select the range selection tool and indicate that this part, well, up to here I guess, is the reference, and this part is the target. Now the words that are sung on both tracks are actually the same, so I will leave match words enabled. And I will not select preferred time shifting, because I expect that we will actually need to stretch audio to be aligned correctly. But this is typically an option that you would use on multi-track drum recordings, for example, if you want to shift them only to align to another track without actually stretching them, because stretching a multi-track recording does not keep the phase in sync of those multi-tracks. So if you're doing this to a percussion or a drum part that you want to align, it makes sense to enable preferred time shifting so that it avoids time stretching if possible. Now you can also specify the alignment precision, as in how much do you want to align, but let's keep this at 100% so that Cubase does its utmost to actually align everything perfectly, as much as it's capable to. So let's align. And let's get rid of the audio alignment panel, get back to the object selection tool, and let's now check out what Cubase has actually done to this audio. And I'm now opening the sample editor in a separate window, because I like it better and I can make the window a bit bigger. But you can set this behavior in Edit, Preferences, Editors, and over here you can select what happens if you double click and you want to open an editor. And I've set both to opening an editor in a separate window. But back to the sample editor. Over here you can see that audio warp has been enabled on the track. And you can see that Cubase has put in a lot of warp markers. If I zoom in a bit, you see that those warp markers typically start at the beginning of words or pieces of audio. And it has basically used those warp markers to stretch the audio so that it is in sync with the lead vocal track as much as possible. If you enable free warp, you can also see how much stretching has been done. And sometimes, well, it's quite considerable. These factors here indicate how much Cubase has stretched the low vocal track to align with the lead vocal. Let's have a listen.
I've seen the key, can you find the lock? With two hands I'm turning, I've been struck and I am holding on with all I got.
Yeah, it has done a pretty good job, especially that last got. You can hear it's now in sync with the lead vocal. But let's continue listening for a bit to see if there's anything that we still need to correct manually.
I will stand up, I'll give it my best, I'll change my...
So there's an aisle there, which is not quite in sync. Let's find it.
best, I'll change.
Is this piece of audio in the lead vocal. So that's something that we still need to correct manually now. So let me show you how to do that. Because I can now select both tracks by control clicking the other one. They are both selected now. And if I now double click, the sample editor is opened again. But over here I can specify that I want to show all selected audio events. So I now get both audio events in the same sample editor. Now over here you can already see the problem. This yellow part is the lead vocal, the grayish blue part is the low voice. And if you listen over here, you see that these don't start at the same moment. So what we basically want to do is that we want to shift the audio over here to the left so that it aligns with the yellow audio. I can do that by first selecting the track that I want to edit, which is the low vocal. And then you can see the warp markers. And I could now take this warp marker and stretch it so that it starts at the same time as the yellow audio. But then I would really stretch out the whole word. I don't really want to make it so unnatural, so let's undo that. What I instead want to do, I want to put in a new warp marker here at the end of this word. Then I want to stretch so that the blue audio aligns with the yellow audio. And I want to bring this back more to its original size. Now the rest of the track, starting from this warp marker onwards, and before this warp marker stays very much in place. So let's have a listen to how it sounds now.
Best, I'll change.
As you can see, the aisle is now perfectly aligned.
I'll change my...
Now if you've done this for all deviations that you can still hear, you get a nicely aligned background vocal track. And after that, it's a good idea to get rid of the real-time processing on this track to make sure that it doesn't cost you any performance. And sometimes you can even hear some pops and clicks if you leave the real-time processing in. So you can do this in two ways. One is audio, real-time processing, flatten real-time processing. And then you can select an algorithm, but there's only one. And it has now gotten rid of the real-time processing. And another option is that you select this event and you say audio bound selection. That's also another way to get rid of the real-time processing in this audio event. So let's again have a short listen to the before and after. This is before.
I've seen the key, can you find the lock? With two hands I'm turning, I've been struck and I am holding on with all I got.
And this is after alignment.
I've seen the key, can you find the lock? With two hands I'm turning, I've been struck and I am holding on with all I got.
Pretty nice, huh? And I've now shown you this for a background vocal track, which is a very typical use case of this technique. But you can use it on other audio that you want to align as well. For example, on a double-tracked guitar, or on drums and percussion, or even on bass and drums, for example, if you really wanted to align the kick and bass guitar. As always, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and ring the little bell icon so you know when I post another video. I have some affiliate links in the description to the equipment that I use in the studio. And if you're going to buy anything in these stores, you can first click the affiliate link and I will then get a small commission without any extra cost to you. Next up is my video on how to use audio warp to correct the timing of a bass track. So check it out, enjoy, and see you soon.